Let's have a little fun here on Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. Let's take a look at 5 Bears trade targets, 5 players that I think would be fun additions, and in a couple of these players' cases, I think pretty notable additions if they were to become players of this football team. So we'll dive into those players as we go here. I want to hear from you guys. Throw your GM cap on. Should the Bears make a trade, and maybe that means trading away a player or trading for a player? Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you think the Bears should make a trade, type Y for yes or type N for no. All right, the first one is a name we've talked about a few times. That is Trey Hendrickson, the Cincinnati Bengals edge rusher who, before the NFL draft, requested a trade from the Bengals, citing that he wanted more long-term security. He's got 2 years left on his deal. He's coming off arguably the best year of his career in 2023. As of now, nothing has publicly changed about that trade request. 17.5 sacks last year, and 3 of the past 4 years, he's got 13.5 sacks or more. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. He's been absolutely dominant for that Bengals defensive front, and we've mentioned it before, and I'll mention it again. Him and Montez Sweat would be one of the most dynamic and productive edge combos in this league. I mean, it really, really would, and I don't think you need a player like Hendrickson, but it would certainly be a big help. You certainly do need more help on your defensive line. I just don't know if you're going to get a high-level player like this that you're going to have to shelve out a major extension to, not to mention that you're probably looking at a second-round pick, right? Like, if I'm the Bengals, if I'm going to trade one of my core defensive players due to contract disputes, I want at least a second-round pick for him. I wouldn't trade up a first, but I'd consider a second, and listen, maybe you trade for him and you don't extend him. You just say, hey, we just want you to come in here 2 years, help us chase a big-time playoff success, and we'll see how it goes. But I got to think in Hendrickson's camp, he's only going to agree to a trade if it is with an extension attached to it. We'll see what happens there. It'd be fun to have him here, man. I mean, he would have a huge role opposite of Montez Sweat, and then if Javon Dexter took the next step, that front four could be absolutely nasty. Subscribe now. If the Bears make a trade, we will break it down here on Chicago Bears Now. All you got to do, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. That way you never miss an episode here on the channel. If moves get made, we break it down here on the channel. Do not miss out on that front. Okay, Treylon Burks, a name who's been circulating trade rumors in the NFL. I want to kind of revisit and set the stage here for why that has been. Mike Clay reported this a couple of days ago that Tyler Jones and Zay Jones visited the Titans and that Tennessee could be moving on from Treylon Burks. And he said, be curious to see if a wide receiver needed team take a shot at a 24-year-old former first-round pick. Well, they went on to sign Tyler Boyd on Tuesday, did Tennessee. So if that report is true and if the Titans are willing to move on from Treylon Burks, could the Bears be a team that takes a flyer on a guy who has some talent? Now, again, he has not lived up to being a first-round pick. He showed some promise his first year, not much this past year, a couple of big plays here and there, but nothing substantial. But he has shown the big play ability, 70-yard catch last year, 51 in his rookie year. I don't think he's been used properly. I think he should be used like a Deebo Samuel, kind of a get him the ball in space and let his physical running style take over. He's not a precise route runner. He's not a guy that's going to separate consistently, but he's a physical runner. I think in a quick passing attack, you get him the ball in space, he can make plays for you. I really, really do think that. I'm still intrigued by Treylon Burks, and I think this would actually be a pretty decent situation for him because the pressure wouldn't be on to produce at a high level. You've got your top 3. You've got Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and the question is after that, who are your depth pieces? What's the pecking order? Ideally, Tyler Scott's your 4, but you bring in Treylon Burks and you round out that room with Burks, Scott, and pick your flavor for wide receiver 6, whether it's Velus Jones, Dante Pettis, or Colin Johnson. I would do it for a late-round pick. I don't know if the Bears are interested in doing that, but I still believe in the talent of Treylon Burks to at least be a solid NFL player. I'll tell you this, if you ask me right now, who would I rather have, Treylon Burks or Velus Jones? Both were in the same draft. I would absolutely take Treylon Burks. Okay, next up here is Jonathan Allen, the defensive tackle for the Washington Commanders. Could the Bears strike another trade with Washington? We'll explore that in just a moment. What's that smell? Oh, God, that's one of our producers behind the camera because he hasn't gotten going with Mando. Today's show is sponsored by Mando, and nobody likes a foul ball, just like no one likes a smelly dude. That's where Mando comes into play. Step up to the plate and take your personal hygiene more seriously with the Mando Whole Body Deodorant. It is developed by a doctor. This game-changing formula is safe for your entire body and knocks out odor like a champ. Mando is made with mandelic acid, which picks off odor at the source, keeping you fresh for up to 72 hours. Mando is available in solid sticks, invisible cream, body wash, cleaning bars, and deodorant wipes for on-the-go use. Don't let foul balls ruin your game. Switch to Mando and keep your body odor in fair territory. Hey, you behind the camera, I'm going to toss you some of these wipes right now. That way you can give yourself a nice little wipe down and not as much BO in the studio, if you know what I'm saying. ShopMando.com, code CHAT gets you $5 off their starter pack there. Go check that out. It includes the deodorant wipes that I just tossed to one of our producers behind the scenes. He could certainly use them. Check it out, ShopMando.com, promo code CHAT for $5 off. Link is in the comments and in the description. You look at Jonathan Allen now, our next trade target here. There's been some kind of chatter recently, too. Jeremy Fowler mentioned it. We might dive into this report deeper on a later episode, that the Commanders might move on from Jonathan Allen, and man, it would be fun to add him to the middle here. You kind of play him with Gervon Dexter. I think it would allow Dexter to continue to slowly grow. You don't need him to be a high-level starter in year 2 in this case, because if you don't add someone who can play there, you kind of need Dexter to at least take a notable jump. He doesn't have to be a star, but he at least needs to be a starting caliber player. Washington's going younger, man. They drafted Jerzon Newton out of Illinois. They paid Daron Payne last year. Allen is approaching 30. I don't know if he fits their timeline. I mean, Dan Quinn, Adam Peters, they signed a bunch of young players. They drafted, obviously, a bunch of players who were in their early 20s. I don't know if Jonathan Allen fits their timeline. And he said at the end of last season, I'm tired of losing. I've been here 7 years. I've never won anything. Well, the Bears haven't won in a while, but you know what? They might be on the precipice of doing so. And this could be a guy that fills a clear position of need and could help this team become a winner for the next several years. How about Baron Browning, who is a very interesting player because you guys might remember him from his Ohio State days when he was more of an off-ball linebacker. Well, the last couple of years in Denver, he's kind of turned into a situational pass rusher, and he's been pretty productive as a rotation piece. I mean, 9.5 sacks in 24 games over the past 2 years. He's missed some time with injury, a couple of forced fumbles, 21 QB hits. Again, he came out of Ohio State as an off-ball guy, was not good as a rookie. They moved him to outside linebacker in that 3-4 scheme, kind of to be that speed edge rusher type, and he's been solid. Now, he's not an every down guy. I don't think he'd start for you, but he'd give you a different look than DeMarcus Walker, who's kind of a bigger edge, a guy who kicks inside and plays 3-tech sometimes. I mean, you could kick Walker inside on pass downs next to Dexter, and maybe a guy like Browning checks in opposite of Montez Sweat, and you kind of get your best 4 pass rushers out there. So certainly an interesting name. I saw Pro Football Network link him to the Bears, so potentially an option here for Chicago, as Denver could still be looking to move some contracts around and add some draft capital. What is the bigger need on the Bears' defensive line, edge or defensive tackle? It really comes down to Gervon Dexter's development. If he doesn't take a step, I'd say defensive tackle. If he takes a big one, then, well, outside of Montez Sweat, you need pretty big help at edge. So give us your thoughts in the comments of this video. Last one, kind of a dart here, but I think San Francisco's a team to watch. Obviously, there's been a lot of Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel buzz, but if I'm the Niners, I'm trying to keep that core together for at least one more year to try and make another Super Bowl run while Brock Purdy is cheap. And a guy like Jawan Jennings could get squeezed out. That wide receiver room is crowded. I mean, they have Ayuk, Samuel. They just drafted Ricky Pearsall. I mean, at best, they drafted someone else, too, in the middle rounds. Can't remember who it was. But at best, Jennings is wide receiver 4, maybe even wide receiver 5. And he's been pretty solid for them. Not crazy numbers, but he's kind of played this big slot role for them who's, he's not the fastest guy. I remember he took a lot of heat because he ran like a 4.7 in the 40 at the NFL Combine. You know who else didn't run a super fast 40 and has been a pretty damn good pro? He plays for the Bears now. His name is Keenan Allen. He's obviously not Keenan Allen. I'm not saying that. But I think you look at what the Bears have, and Jawan Jennings could be a guy that spells Keenan Allen in the slot occasionally if you want to keep his snaps at a manageable number. And if nothing else, he'd be some insurance, right? Keenan has had some injury issues over the years where he'll miss a few games here and there. Jennings could step in, start at that big slot spot for you in a pinch. He could give you some snaps if needed, play some special teams. So, I don't know, late round pick if the Niners decide that he's not in their plans, you could certainly do worse. Maybe do a late round pick swap. Not going to cost you much, and he could be your wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5 type, and give you some quality snaps here. Okay, there you have it. 5 Bears trade targets, some big ones, some small ones. What say you? Name a player that you think the Bears should go out and trade for before the start of the season. Let's hear it down in the comments, and appreciate everybody for tuning in to Chicago Bears Now. We will continue to crank out content here on this channel, so don't go anywhere. Subscribe and turn on notifications.